Good noon to you all. Today we will discuss pharmacokinetics part 1. What is pharmacokinetics? Pharmacokinetics is that branch of pharmacology which deals with the absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion of drugs in and out of recipients. It means what the body does to the drug. Diagrammatic representation of different processes of pharmacokinetics like absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. In this diagram, there is description about different parts of processes of pharmacokinetics. Absorptions here say oral intake. It reaches the stomach and intestines, and from here after absorptions it reaches the portal circulations. From here it reaches the livers, and from liver it goes to the systemic circulation, and also there is a enterohepatic circulations. From here some drugs like doxycycline undergoes enterohepatic circulations. Some drugs, when taken by inhalation, they also reach the systemic circulations. And so this is the absorptions either from the GIT and from lungs. And after absorption, drugs reaches through the systemic circulation, distributed throughout the body compartments, and after reaching the livers, major metabolism occurs, and after metabolism again elimination of drugs occur. First part of the pharmacokinetics being absorption. So what is absorption? Movement of drug from the site of drug administration into the bloodstream called absorption. Absorption of drugs can occur from sites of administration such as from mouth, stomach, small intestine, colon, via lungs, from parenteral sites as well as from sites of special drug delivery systems such as OcuSART, ProGestaSART, osmotic pump, computerized miniature pump, transdermal patch, from topical administration sites like eyes, noses, ears, etc. Drugs are available in different dosage forms like tablets, coated tablets, sustained release tablets, capsules, suspensions, solutions. They also affect rate of absorption. There are so many factors that modify the absorption of drugs. These are broadly divided into two major classes, that is pharmaceutical factors and pharmacological factors. Pharmaceutical factors include particle size of the drugs. Absorption rate is inversely proportional to size of the drug particles usually. Others, salt forms of the drugs. Next, nature of excipients and adjuvants, degree of ionization, disintegration time, and dissolution time. all affect or modify the absorption of drugs. Absorption rate also affected by degree of ionization of drugs. Ionized drugs are less absorbed, and non-ionized drugs and lipid-soluble drugs are better absorbed. Disintegration time and dissolution time are well depicted in this diagram. Other factors of pharmacological aspect are GIT motility, gastrointestinal diseases, and some other diseases affecting gastrointestinal integrity. Food and other substances in GIT also affect absorption of drugs. First pass effect, drug-drug interactions, pharmacogenetic factors, and some others miscellaneous factors modify the absorption of drugs. Okay. Now we are going to discuss next points one by one, mainly gut motility. In diarrhea conditions or any conditions of increased peristalsis, absorption of drug is badly affected. There are so many gastrointestinal diseases which affects absorption of drugs. Congestive heart failures and cirrhosis of livers producing GIT mucosal edema also badly affects absorption of drugs. Presence of food in the stomach can affect the absorption of some of the drugs, such as absorption of rifampicin and levodopa are badly affected, whereas presence of fatty meal increases the absorption of an antifungal agent, griseofulvin. Milk and milk products decrease the absorption of tetracycline group. We will discuss first pass effect in the below slides. Before this, we are going to discuss drug interactions. Presence of ascorbic acid increases the absorption of oral irons, whereas antacids reduce the absorption of tetracycline group of antibiotics. Pharmacogenetic factors. There are some genetic factors which may influence the drug absorption. In pernicious anemia, vitamin B12 is not absorbed from the gut due to lack of intrinsic factor. Miscellaneous factors. Drugs are better absorbed in the small intestine because of a larger surface area. Resection of gut decreases the absorption of drugs due to a reduced surface area. Again, achlorhydria decreases the absorption of iron. It is. There are some introductory terms related to pharmacokinetics, such as first pass metabolism. Metabolism of a drug during its passage from the site of absorption to the systemic circulation is called first pass metabolism. When drugs are administered orally, they have to pass via gut wall, portal vein, liver, and systemic circulation. During this passage, certain drugs get metabolized and are removed or inactivated before they reach the systemic circulation. This process is known as first-pass metabolism or pre-systemic metabolism or first-pass effect. Bioavailability. It is the fraction of the drug that reaches the systemic circulation from a given dose following administration by any route. But the term bioavailability is used commonly for drugs given by oral route. Intravenous route of drugs gives 100% bioavailability. Drug bioavailability expressed in percentage by the formula area under curve after oral administration of drugs divided by area under curve after intravenous administration multiplied by 100. Bioavailability can be calculated by several methods such as cut and weigh methods from the graph, a planimeter, trapezoidal rule. Following diagram depicts the changes in bioavailability of drugs depending upon different routes of drug administration. This graph shows that drugs given by rectal route has minimum bioavailability. After this, oral administration of drugs and thereafter subcutaneous followed by intramuscular and lastly intravenous route of drugs. Okay, this diagram have illustrated that drugs given by rectal route has minimum least viability and drugs given by IV route has 100% viability. But there are some exceptions because drugs like diazepam has viability higher when given by oral route than by subcutaneous or intramuscular route. This diagram or this graph depicts the details about bioavailability. The drugs given by IV route here shown in the graph by a triangle have 100% bioavailability, whereas drugs given by oral route gradually increases and gradually declines, and its viability is about 50% as the graph depicts, having Cmax being its maximum plasma concentration, having therapeutic response, and MEC depicts the minimum effective concentration that produces therapeutic response. Therapeutic window is the area between Cmax and MEC. Factors affecting bioavailability. All factors we have already discussed just before, which modify the absorption of drugs, will also modify bioavailability. Second, first pass metabolism of drugs, also known as pre-systemic metabolism or first pass effect, also affect bioavailability. Other factors modifying the bioavailability, the hepatic diseases, enterohepatic cycling of drugs, example being doxycycline and morphine, as well as congestive heart failures leading to mucosal edema of the GIT. All these factors modify the bioavailability of drugs. Order of passage of the drugs after oral intake. Oral drugs pass through the gut wall to the portal vein, then to the liver, and then to the systemic circulation. Metabolism can occur at any site before drug reaches the systemic circulation. This diagram, this table depicts the different drugs having their site of metabolism. Liver, isosorbide dinitrate, glyceryl trinitrate, morphine, pethidine, xylocaine, imipramine, amitriptyline, propranolol. Drugs metabolized in intestinal mucosa being levodopa, alpha-methyl-dopa, tyramine, testosterone, progesterone, and chlorpromazine. Drugs being metabolized in bronchial mucosa are nicotine and isoprenaline. Now we will come to discuss next part, that is bioequivalence. What is bioequivalence? Comparison of bioavailabilities of different formulations or brands of the same drug is called bioequivalence. Again, to any drugs to be bioequivalent, differences in bioavailability or different formulations of the same drug should be below 25%. Now we can see in this picture that different drugs, different formulation of the same drug 1A, 1B, 1C has been used, and the bioavailability of drug 1A and 1B are closer to each other. So these drugs, drug 1A and drug 1B, are bioequivalent drugs. But drug 1C, as looks in this diagram, has bioavailability less than 50% that of drug 1A and 1B. That's why drug 1C is non-equivalent to drug 1A and 1B. Now we will discuss different types of equivalence, such as chemical equivalence. If two or more dosage forms of the same drug containing same labeled quantities of the drug as specified in pharmacopoeia, then these are called chemically equivalent drugs. Example being gelantin and eptoin. Both drugs contain phenytoin sodium, but both are different brands of the same drug, phenytoin. Pharmaceutical equivalence. If two drug formulations of same drug, same active drug, also contain other similar ingredients like excipients, binders, or dispersing agents, these two forms are considered to be pharmaceutically equivalent. Next, the therapeutic equivalence. If two brand products of one drug show an identical in vivo pharmacological response, then they are called having therapeutic equivalent. Examples being empyrean and aristocylin. These are two different brands of the generic drug ampicillin. When 500 mg of ampicillin and 500 mg of aristocylin give same bioavailability, and change in their bioavailability is less than 25%, then both these brands are called to be therapeutically equivalent brands. Clinical equivalence: if two structurally different drugs show same clinical response, then they are called to exhibit clinical equivalence. Example: trifluperazine and haloperidol in the treatment of schizophrenia. Now we will discuss the second topic of pharmacokinetics, drug distribution. Drug distribution: reversible transfer of drugs between body fluid compartments is called drug distribution. Drugs may get distributed into total body water, the capacity being 42 liters for an adult having 70 kg body weight. Examples being ethanol. This diagram describes drug distribution in different fluid compartments and various tissues of the body with some examples. Various tissues: iodine in thyroid, fluorine in bones, vitamin A and chloroquine in liver, glycofulvin in keratin. Total body water is further divided into extracellular fluid compartment having 14 liters and intracellular fluid compartment having 20. Where they are distributed are ions like iodine, bromine, chlorine, sodium ion and calcium ions. Tubocurarine and gentamicins are other examples. Drugs distributed to intracellular compartments, examples being potassium ions and sucrose. Examples of again extracellular fluid compartment, about 14 liters has been further distributed into intravascular compartment being 3 liters, interstitial fluid compartment being 10.5 liters, and transcellular fluid compartment about 0.5 liters. Examples of intravascular fluid compartment drugs are mannitol, dextran, heparin. Examples of interstitial fluid compartment drugs are digoxins and imetin, and that of transcellular fluid compartment, examples being in CSF aminosugars, antibiotics and sucrose, in pleural fluid imipramine and methadone, in aqueous humor of eye chloramphenicals and prednisolones, endolymph ampicillins. Besides these, pericardial fluids, peritoneal fluids and synovial fluids also fluid compartments also act as drug reservoirs for drug distribution. Well, so here we have seen distribution of different fluid compartments and various tissues of our body with some examples of drugs distributed in respective compartments. So next topic under physiological distribution of drug is physiological barriers of drug distribution. Physiological barriers of drug distribution are blood-brain barrier, blood-CSF barriers, CSF-brain barrier, and placental barrier. Blood-brain barrier is a tightly joined endothelial cells of brain capillaries enveloped by less permeable glial cells lining. This is called blood-brain barrier, and this blood-brain barrier is further complemented by molecular barrier of some efflux transporters like P-glycoprotein and ABCC1. ABCC1 stands for ATP binding cassette subfamily C member 1, which is a protein coding gene. Only lipid soluble non-ionized form of drugs penetrate more easily to brain as compared to water soluble ionized form of drugs. Volatile anesthetics like ether, chloroform, thiopentone, morphines, heroines being narcotic analgesics pass the blood-brain barrier easily, while polar compounds like dopamine, serotonin, streptomycins, D-tubocurarine, neostigmine, and acetylcholine fail to penetrate blood-brain barrier. Blood-CSF barrier. There lies an occluding zonule in between vascular endothelial cells and CSF secreting epithelial cells of choroid plexus. Next, CSF brain barrier, epithelial lining of ventricles acts as a barrier for drugs. Placental barrier also acts as a physiological barrier for different drugs to be distributed into the placenta, into the fetus. Now we will discuss next topic, apparent volume of distribution, denoted by AVD. What is apparent volume of distribution? Apparent volume of distribution means the total space which should apparently be available in the body to contain the known amount of the drug. AVD is given by the formula total amount of drug in the body in mg divided by body weight in kg whole divided by concentration of drug in plasma in mg per liter. And this formula gives the fact that AVD is expressed in liter per kg. Some important facts regarding AVD are as follows. High molecular weight drugs such as heparin and insulin or lesser lipid soluble drugs do not cross capillary walls. So when given intravenously, it remains in the vascular compartment, and so its AVD is equal to plasma volume, that is about 3 liters. Next, if AVD of a drug is about 14 liter, it indicates that drug is distributed in extracellular fluid compartment. Example being gentamicin, streptomycin, aspirin, tolbutamide, and amoxicillin. Drugs having AVD about 42 liter indicates distribution of drugs throughout the total body water. Example being ethanol, phenytoin, and theophylline. Next, AVD of some drugs are very high than the actual body volume. It indicates that drugs has been distributed in various tissues also. Note the importance of such type of drugs is that toxicity of such drugs is very difficult to be treated because removal of such drugs are not possible even by hemodialysis. Example being chloroquine, whose AVD is about 13,000 liter and that of digoxin about 500 liter. Now, important missing point is plasma protein binding, which we are going to discuss. Plasma protein acts as a drug reservoir. Many drugs bind to plasma proteins like albumin, alpha-1 acid glycoprotein, etc. Clinical importance of plasma protein binding. The drug, after absorption, enters the systemic circulation. Where acidic drugs bind to plasma proteins albumin and basic drugs bind to alpha-1 acid glycoprotein. And drugs in these bound forms are pharmacologically inactive, act as a temporary store of the drug. And then when drugs are released from the plasma bound proteins, then they become free and now the drugs become pharmacologically active drugs to give therapeutic response. Plasma protein binding favors drug absorption. Drugs that are highly bound to plasma proteins have a low volume of distribution. Plasma protein binding delays the metabolism of drugs. Bound form is not available for filtration at the glomeruli, hence excretion of highly plasma protein bound drugs is delayed. Highly protein bound drugs have a longer duration of action, like sulfasalazine, sulfadoxine is less plasma protein bound and has a duration of action of 6 hours. Here sulfadizine is less plasma protein bound and so has a duration of action of 6 hours, whereas sulfadoxine, a highly plasma bound protein and has a duration of action of 1 week. In case of poisoning, highly plasma protein bound drugs are difficult to be removed by hemodialysis. In diseased states like anemia, renal failure, chronic liver diseases, etc., plasma albumin levels are low because diseased liver is not synthesizing the proteins. So there will be an increase in the free form of the drug, which can lead to drug toxicity. Plasma protein binding can cause displacement interactions. More than one drug can bind to the same site on plasma protein. The drug with higher affinity will displace the one having lower affinity and may thus result in a sudden increase in the free concentration of the drug with lower affinity. Now we are going to discuss next topic, redistribution of drugs. Certain very highly lipid soluble drugs like thiopentone are distributed in the brain very fastly within 1 minute and then passively diffuses out of the brain to reach the systemic circulation to be redistributed to peripheral tissues like muscles, viscera, and adipose tissue. So effect of thiopentone is very short. It is a general anesthetic agent. Next important topic of pharmacokinetic is biotransformation or metabolism. Biotransformation is the preferable term than the metabolism because nowadays there are so many examples which depicts that there are drugs which do not undergo any metabolic changes. Rather, there are molecular rearrangement which gives as a metabolic product. So better term is biotransformation rather than metabolism. What is biotransformation? Enzyme catalyzed biochemical transformation of drugs within the living organisms. The metabolism of a drug usually converts lipid soluble and unionized compounds into water soluble and ionized compounds which are not reabsorbed in the renal tubules and are excreted. Next important topic is sites of biotransformation. What are the sites in our body where drugs are biotransformed, or in the other sense drugs are metabolized? Liver, kidney, GIT, gastrointestinal tract, lungs, blood, skin, placenta, etc. Dead tissues like nail and hair are not involved in biotransformation. Consequences of biotransformation, that is, what are the results of a drug undergoing biotransformation or metabolism? These are the consequences are: first, formation of inactive metabolite from an active drug. Example, active phenobarbital is biotransformed into inactive hydroxyphenobarbital. Phenytoin, being active, converted to para-hydroxyphenytoin. Other point is formation of active compound from an inactive drug known as prodrug or lesser active. Example, inactive drugs and active metabolites. Levodopa converted to dopamine, parathione converted to paraoxone, campicillin converted to ampicillin. What is a prodrug? Prodrug, it is an inactive precursor form of a drug which is metabolized to pharmacologically active drug.